Pakistan, Saudi Arabia and Turkey have inked a mutual defense agreement that some observers are calling the beginning of a Muslim NATO. The new military pact could add pressure on Israel by bringing together three powerful regional states with different capabilities. Mohammed bin Salman, Recep Tayyip Erdogan and Shahbaz Sharif have joined hands on defense cooperation amid wider regional instability. Turkey's possible return to the U.S. F-35 program and Pakistan's existing deployment of troops and air defense assets in Saudi Arabia could strengthen this emerging bloc. Not Iran, but Israel is the real threat in Middle East? Three of the biggest Muslim countries are seemingly now under one nuclear umbrella. Turkey, Saudi Arabia and Pakistan signed a mutual defense agreement in Mecca on August 7, bringing their leaders together amid heightened regional turmoil and security concerns across the Gulf. The pact unites three major Sunni Muslim powers that each retain important, though very different, relationships with the United States, combining Saudi financial influence, Turkish military-industrial capacity, and Pakistan's armed forces. Notably, none of the three states maintains full diplomatic relations with Israel, creating a rare security grouping of U.S.-linked powers that remains politically separate from Washington's closest Middle Eastern partner. Turkey, Pakistan and Saudi Arabia signed the deal amid a widening Gulf crisis, with regional states facing attacks, threats and growing uncertainty following the confrontation between Iran, the United States and Israel. Turkey brings NATO's second-largest military by personnel. Saudi Arabia contributes immense Gulf influence and defense spending, while Pakistan adds a battle-tested military and the only nuclear arsenal in the Muslim world. Riyadh has been seeking to deepen security cooperation with key partners as it looks for stronger deterrence and more reliable regional arrangements beyond traditional dependence on Washington. At the same time, Saudi Arabia has raised alarm over growing regional threats from Iran-aligned groups, particularly as maritime, missile and drone risks have increased across the Gulf and Red Sea. However, the full text and operational details of the agreement were not immediately released, leaving open major questions about joint command, deployment obligations, intelligence sharing and the exact meaning of mutual defense. Saudi Arabia and Pakistan already signed a mutual defense pact in September 2025, stating that aggression against one country would be treated as an attack against both, making Turkey's inclusion a potentially major expansion. Pakistan has provided training, advisory support, and technical military assistance to Saudi Arabia for decades, creating an established defense relationship that the 2025 Pact and new trilateral deal now deepen. Pakistan has reportedly deployed around 8,000 troops, a fighter squadron, drone units, and a Chinese-made HQ-9 air defense system to Saudi Arabia under its mutual defense arrangement with Riyadh. Turkey and Pakistan have built extensive defense ties through training, naval cooperation, aviation exchanges, weapons development and joint exercises, giving the new framework a base of existing military interoperability. Saudi Arabia agreed to purchase Turkish Bayraktar drones in a deal described as Turkey's largest defense and aviation export contract, with technology transfer and joint production also included. Turkey's possible return to the F-35 program is another major development Israel will monitor, although Washington has not made a final decision and U.S. law still requires Ankara to meet conditions related to its Russian S-400 system. The reported deal would open the door for Turkey to procure F-35A jets from the United States. Turkish journalist Abdülkadir Selvi was among the first to report the S-400 transfer story. Turkey was expelled from the F-35 Joint Strike Fighter program in 2019. The exclusion followed US-Qatar sanctions over Ankara's purchase of Russian S-400 batteries. Turkey's S-400s have largely sat in storage due to NATO interoperability and intelligence sharing concerns. Washington has worried that S-400 systems could collect data on Western stealth aircraft signatures. Trump has recently signaled a willingness to ease Qatar restrictions and reopen the door to F-35s for Turkey. Israel has openly raised alarms about any deal that would significantly boost rival Turkey's air power. Potential Gulf buyers such as the UAE and Qatar have not yet formally confirmed plans to purchase Turkey's S-400s. Moscow has acknowledged it is in contact with Turkey over the possible S-400 transfer. Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov has called the issue extremely sensitive but confirmed ongoing discussions with Ankara. Dmitry Peskov said, and I quote, "I can say one thing here. This is an extremely sensitive issue. However, we have been in contact with the Turkish side on this matter, and we will continue to maintain contact with them on this issue." Unquote.
Mr. President, are you going to sell F-35s to Turkey, and what about the legal restrictions?
It's a decision we're going to make. We have a very good relationship. I would think that many people, I can tell you, many people, including the people sitting right here, thinks, why wouldn't we do that? We have a better relationship with Turkey, and Turkey's been in many ways much more loyal than other countries that we think would be loyal. So, something certainly we would consider. It's a great plane. It's the best, currently the best plane by far. And it's certainly something we will consider. Yeah. I know, a lot of people don't agree, although I think with time they're starting to. Turkey has been a great ally for us. Turkey could have gone on the side. They know Iran very well, and they know the problems with Iran. But they've been very instrumental, along with a couple of other countries, of helping. They could have gotten into the fight. And I hear some people saying about their relationship with Israel. They could have gotten into the fight. They're a very powerful military nation. They didn't do that. Maybe they didn't do that because of me. But they could have gotten into the fight on the other side. They are a nation that's been very, very good. And I can speak for myself as president. They've been extraordinary in many ways with respect to our relationship, including trying to end the war with Iran, or whatever you call it. It's not even a war, it's a military operation. It's a denuclearization. That's really what it is, of Iran, because I don't think he wants to see them have a nuclear weapon either. I'm pretty sure of that. In fact, I'm totally sure of that.
Especially regarding Gaza, of course, with my dear friend, by discussing these issues as well, we attach great importance to this leaders' summit to ensure peace in this region. We consider it a good sign for such a decision to emerge from this leaders' summit as well. And I also think that this is possible.
We are observing a period where Turkey-U.S. relations are developing. In 2025, during our visit to the United States last year, significant trade agreements were also signed. Regarding Syria, Turkey, the U.S. president said that Turkey is an important actor before the new term begins. Mr. Trump also mentioned that he is coming with surprise. We discussed the F-35 and the engines of Khan warplanes. Perhaps it could come up on the agenda. What do you think the surprise could be? Will Turkey be able to get what it wants after today's meetings?
Of course, as you know, the F-35 issue is not a new topic for us. And we discussed this with America before. And we received the promise for the 5 aircraft. We received the promise. And Mr. Trump has also made an additional promise to us on this matter. And now, in the meetings we will have at this leaders' summit regarding the F-35, I know that we have positively tested the promise we previously received from them for the future. And on this matter, Mr. Trump always stands by his word. Here again, hopefully, from this leaders' summit, good news regarding the F-35.
At a time when Holocaust denial, Holocaust distortion, and anti-Semitism are once again spreading across the world, Europe, strengthening Holocaust education is more important than ever. I also want to thank you, Minister, for your strong condemnation of the terrible words by Turkey's foreign minister. Actually, it was hard for me to believe he really said that before I listened myself. We seek peace with our neighbors. We seek peace with Lebanon. Peace must be based on security. Israel has no territorial ambitions in Lebanon. Our presence in the security zone in southern Lebanon is only out of security necessity to keep the communities of northern Israel safe. It is not Israel that is violating Lebanese sovereignty. It is the Iranian terror proxy, Hezbollah, that built a terrorist state within a state. And as long as this terrorist army remains intact, Lebanon cannot exercise its sovereignty or its independence. Not while Hezbollah possesses greater military power than the state itself. The only way for peace and stability, therefore, is through the dismantling of Hezbollah's terror state. Hamas seeks to replicate the Hezbollah model in Gaza. Hamas's latest trick is very simple. It says it will make room for a technocratic government or committee only to save it from disarming. They don't care if others will collect the garbage, provide municipal services, and administer civilian affairs if Hamas will remain the dominant military force in Gaza, maintaining their oppression and control over the Palestinians in Gaza and continuing its jihad against Israel. This country needs a minimal strategic depth. Our insistence on realizing our rights and ensuring our security in this land is not an obstacle to peace. On the contrary, certain European governments are working to impose on the entire EU their obsessive anti-Israeli agenda. No one can use sanctions to force Israel to change policies on issues at the heart of our existence. When there are disagreements, and sometimes we have disagreements as friends, they should always be handled through dialogue. I will not make speculation about what President Trump will tell Mr. Erdogan. We made it clear that we oppose to the F-35, to sell F-35 planes to Turkey. The Prime Minister himself told that to President Trump. The United States, first of all, it's critical that Israel, in the region we are living, will maintain its, I would say, quality advantage and this was always the policy of the United States to support that advantage. And I'm sure this is also the policy of President Trump and his administration, which is a very friendly administration. And therefore, I hope it will not happen.
Upgrade your news experience with the all-new HT app. Download now